When Lin Qingxi was 18 years old, she made a wrong choice, causing her entire life to be extremely miserable. She also implicated her two nephews, and nieces, causing them to bear the blame. If they were to start over again, she would definitely choose another way of life. As a result, she was truly reborn to the day before changing her fate. This time, she must live with them strong keywords of the novel. Rebirth to become a rural doctor without pop-ups, Rebirth to become a rural doctor. Download the complete text, Rebirth to become a rural doctor. Latest chapters to read. Chapter 1. Opportunities for Rebirth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Opportunities for Rebirth. In one of the houses in the residential area of a city, a middle-aged woman was sleeping on her bed, frowning anxiously. In her dream, she returned to her youth and walked through her previous life once again. Suddenly, in her sleep, an old lady appeared beside her. The old lady looked straight at her and asked, "If you were given a chance to start over, would you still do this?" "No," the middle-aged woman in her sleep said silently. "If given a chance to start over, do you want it?" the old lady continued. "Yes, I want it," the middle-aged woman said without hesitation. "If given a chance to go back to the past, would you be willing to exchange everything you have now?" the old lady pursued. "I am willing," the middle-aged woman continued. "Quickly, then I'll send you back. Go back and change the fate of yourself and the people around you. However, you must help me with some things that may bring you some danger. Would you be willing to do them?" The old lady asked with a smile, obviously satisfied with the middle-aged woman's previous answer. "I am willing. There is no free lunch in the world. No matter what you want me to do, I can only do it," the middle-aged woman readily agreed without asking her what to do. "Great, I will give you a summer mustard seed space with mountains and water for your self-sufficient life, but I need you to use the products from this summer mustard seed space to exchange for other people's antique calligraphy, paintings, gold, silver, jewelry, and other items. If you are willing, this summer mustard seed space is yours," the old lady said, taking out a silver bracelet and handing it to the middle-aged woman. "I am willing, but I need to go to the market to buy some seeds and poultry to enter the space for making mustard seeds. If I don't buy them, I will go back. There will be no place to buy them, and it's not convenient to buy them. Is that okay?" The middle-aged woman analyzed her situation and asked in response. "From the satisfaction of your answer, I agree, but you only have 1 day. Go." The old lady waved her hand and sent the middle-aged woman out of her dream. After waking up, the middle-aged woman didn't take it seriously at first, but when she saw the silver bracelet in her palm, she realized that what had happened in her dream was true and beyond her defense. The middle-aged woman covered her face with both hands and cried silently. Soon, it was dawn, and the middle-aged woman, Lin Qingxi, also realized that she still had a mission to do, otherwise it wouldn't be a problem if she went back. Thinking of this, Lin Qingxi went to the bathroom to wash up. First, she gave the silver bracelet to the owner, and then went out to prepare breakfast for the family after washing up. Then, she used the money to go out and buy groceries. Of course, this was something she had to do every day, but today was an exception. She had other things to do today, so after breakfast, she went to get her family's passbook, card, and ID card, and left. Lin Qingxi, born in 1948, is the youngest in her family. Although her mother was married by her father and she has a brother and sister above her, they have a good relationship. Her mother is also very kind to her brothers and sisters, and she is not like other stepmothers in other families. In the spring of 1964, Lin Qingxi's parents sacrificed their lives, and his elder brother Lin Qingping and his wife were also transferred to the border to guard the border. They had to hand over their 2 sons to their youngest sister, Lin Qingxi, to take care of them. Unexpectedly, at this moment, misfortune never comes alone. Second sister Lin Qingyan also went to another most difficult place, but as soon as she arrived there, she became uncomfortable with the environment and left behind 2 children under 10 years old. The second brother-in-law was depressed and soon went. So, 2 children from each of the older brothers and 2 sisters were handed over to Lin Qingxi to take care of, but Lin Qingxi was already a delicate and inexperienced woman, so how could she take care of her? She was tricked into marrying by the descendants of a family, but she didn't expect to have been married for only 2 years and not have a few good days, and even implicated her nephews and nephews. I finally managed to get through it, and I'm also getting old. My nephews and nephews didn't talk about good families because of her. In the end, Lin Qingxi married a snail husband and became his stepmother. However, it was not easy to be his stepmother, and as a cow and horse, he did not receive a good word. Instead, he was harassed by various means. Secretly helping nephews and nephews can also be cursed by stepsons and daughters, and even more outrageous people, men will hit her after drinking. With so many people in the family, no one will help her. However, things are different now. Lin Qingxi has an opportunity to change her fate. This time, she must defend herself and her nephews and nephews. Lin Qingxi took his passbook and bank card to the bank, withdrew all the money, and then went to the car dealership to buy a tricycle. He drove the tricycle to the seed store to buy seeds. Lin Qingxi has earned a total of 250,000 yuan in recent years, as well as the money earned by men. The house in her family was allocated to the men's unit, and she did not buy any large items, except for a portion spent by her stepsons and stepdaughters when they got married. Regardless of the seeds, Lin Qingxi bought them all and then went to the vegetable market. She bought 4 pairs of chicks, duck seedlings, goose seedlings, and piglets each. Every time she finished buying them, she ran to places without surveillance and no one around, and put these things in the summer mustard space. After buying these things, she also bought some fish fry and seafood, regardless of the type of fish. She bought everything she saw. Then she went to a dry goods store, where she bought seaweed, red dates, goji berries, various coarse grains and fine grains, and various sugars. Lin Qingxi also bought 500 kilograms of each. I also bought an old-fashioned Phoenix brand bicycle and sewing machine, as well as some coarse and fine cotton fabrics, all in white, black, gray, green, and blue. I didn't buy many other eye-catching colors. Lin Qingxi bought rare items of her era, such as military coats, cotton quilts, cotton jackets, silk quilts, down jackets, release shoes, and military water bottles. Looking cheap, she also bought 20 pieces of each item, except for military water bottles, she only bought 10. After buying these, I only spent less than 200,000 yuan in total, which has been 3 hours. Mainly for safety reasons, Lin Qingxi changed clothes several times and traveled several places. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to buy so many. With the remaining money, Lin Qingxi bought some common cold medicine, fever-reducing medicine, and anti-inflammatory medicine. Then Lin Qingxi went to buy 2 sets of generators, refrigerators, pressure cookers, rice cookers and other household appliances, as well as a few flashlights and solar bulbs. Then I bought 1,000 mantua of various steamed buns, 100 bags of frozen dumplings and rice dumpling, and then I bought a large freezer for these frozen foods. For this reason, Lin Qingxi specially bought some large storage cabinets, which could be assembled and used as bed cabinets. She also bought a mattress, quilt, and pillow, creating a simple small nest for herself in the summer mustard space. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Response and Change. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Response and Change. After Lin Qingxi spent all her money, she put the tricycle in the space and then returned home with the vegetables she had bought. She calmly cooked lunch and dinner for the whole family. At night, after taking a shower, she went straight back to her room to sleep. Today, the man was still working the night shift, and she slept alone at night. Lin Qingxi, who had been lying in bed for half a day and couldn't sleep, was really unwilling to let this family go like this. After thinking for a moment, she opened the wardrobe, put on disposable gloves, and picked out the clothes in the wardrobe. She put most of her clothes in the summer mustard space, leaving behind a few rather worn-out clothes and the man's clothes, which were scattered everywhere. Then the man's tie caused varying degrees of strangulation on his arms and neck. After venting, Lin Qingxi lay down again and finally fell asleep. Woo-woo. Auntie. Wake up quickly. I don't want you to die. Kong, don't cry anymore. Auntie just fell asleep, she'll wake up soon, Lin Qingxi said, ignoring the crying of the child. She immediately opened her eyes and looked around. Sure enough, she had returned. Quiet, Kong, come over quickly. I bought meat buns and come back. Lin Qingxi's eldest nephew Lin Yizheng's voice came from outside before she could speak. Immediately after, Lin Yizheng and his younger brother Lin Zirong came in. As soon as the brothers came in, they saw Lin Qingxi waking up and not even wanting meat buns. They ran over and tightly hugged her waist. At this moment, there was no need for Lin Qingxi to speak up. Everyone else knew she was awake and gathered around. Alright, everyone, let's eat steamed buns first. After finishing the buns, Zirong stayed at home watching his younger brother and sister, and Yizheng followed his aunt out to do business. When Lin Qingxi returned, it was less than 2 months since Lin's father had sacrificed himself. Lin Qingping, the elder brother, was transferred to the border last month, and Lin Qingyan had also passed away a few days ago, so she couldn't bear the blow and fainted. Okay, Auntie, you eat first, because Lin Qingxi is less than 10 years older than Lin Yizheng, and most of the younger ones were raised by her, so the relationship with her is the best. Well, Lin Qingxi didn't refuse, as she had been too sad and hadn't eaten much for several days. After finishing her meal, Lin Qingxi took Lin Yizheng with her household registration book and went out to the military hospital to receive the subsidy for the sacrifice of Lin's father and wife. Lin and his wife have been sacrificing for almost 2 months now, and she believes that their subsidies should have arrived. In her past life, she was deceived by the wealthy second generation and handed over their subsidies. This time, she won't do it. She will hold on to these subsidies and raise her nephews as adults. Half an hour later, Lin Qingxi appeared in the office building of the Home Military District Hospital. Lin Qingxi had visited several times and knew how to get there. She took Lin Yizheng directly to the dean's office. Yes, Lin's father is a military doctor, and Lin's mother is a nurse. The story of the two is very cliché. Lin's father lost his spouse for many years, and with the help of colleagues and the consent of his own children, he married Lin's mother and gave birth to Lin Qingxi. For Lin Qingxi, an elderly woman, everyone in the Lin family dotes on her. Lin Qingxi has a talent for learning medicine, and as she grew up in a small military hospital, she is proficient in both traditional Chinese medicine and Western medicine. Not only that, she is also very intelligent. Although she is only 16 years old this year, she has already graduated from high school and obtained a medical qualification certificate. However, due to laziness, she did not go to the hospital to work officially. Occasionally, when the hospital is too busy, she will still be pulled to work as a strong soldier. Dong dong. Lin Qingxi knocked on the door and heard someone answer. She opened the door and walked in, then saw that Lin's old boss, Dean Qian, was writing a medical record. Miss Shi is here. Is she here to handle your father's affairs? Wait a moment, I'll let the finance department come over. Dean Qian glanced at Lin Qingxi and Lin Yizheng, picked up the phone on the table, and broadcasted it. A few minutes later, a bald man in his 40s arrived. He glanced at Lin Qingxi with a hint of sympathy in his eyes and said, Miss Shi is here. Your father's compensation came down yesterday and he was about to notify you to come and collect it. Hello Uncle Su, how much compensation does my parents have? I want to collect it all at once today. In addition, I want to sell their job positions, so I would like to trouble you and Uncle Qian. Lin Qingxi smiled and nodded before expressing her plans. Are you not planning to stay? Upon hearing Lin Qingxi's words, Dean Qian and Director Su were both surprised. They thought that Lin Qingxi would stay in the hospital to take over her father's position, as she also had a medical certificate. Yes, I'm not going to stay. Xiao Shan has been around me these days. I don't want to marry him, so I'm going to take Yizheng and some of them back to go home. Lin Qingxi didn't hide anything and directly pushed the pot onto the rich second generation. Okay. Your father's compensation is 4,000, your mother's is 3,000, and with the hospital's subsidy of 15 yuan per person, the total is 10,000. You can sign here and take it away, Director Su said and began counting the money to Lin Qingxi. Okay, thank you to Uncle Qian and Uncle Su. Lin Qingxi took the 10,000 yuan and put it into the cloth bag he carried with him, then put it into the space. Next, it's time to talk about work. Both Lin's father and Lin's mother are formal employees, and they should be able to sell a lot of money. The main issue is that she hasn't figured out whether to sell this job position or not. Staying in a military hospital can have its pros and cons. If you don't stay, the benefits outweigh the drawbacks. After all, in the future, the identity of a farmer will be the most suitable, and the identity of a military doctor can have its pros and cons, which is hard to say. Both of your parents are formal workers, and your father is also the director of the emergency department of our military hospital. So, your father's job quota can be divided into 2 formal workers to sell, and your mother's can be divided into 2 temporary workers to sell. How about that? Do you have any other ideas? Dean Qian and Director Su exchanged a glance and instantly reached a consensus. They turned their heads to look at Lin Qingxi, waiting for her to make a decision. I don't have it, just let the 2 uncles take care of everything, Lin Qingxi shook her head and said weakly. Although she didn't care about worldly affairs, she also learned from Lin's father and other people in the hospital about Dean Qian's arbitrariness and Director Su's smoothness, and understood that even if she raised an opinion, it was useless. So, Dean Qian's proposal is not bad, and Lin Qingxi is still very satisfied. Okay, your parents' job quota will be taken by me and your Uncle Su. Let's do it this way. Your father's quota is different, no matter how you divide it, you will lose 1001, and your mother's quota is 601 because she is a temporary worker. If there's no problem, then sign it. After Dean Qian finished speaking, he took out a piece of paper and pen and wrote 2 agreements on site. After handing them over to Lin Qingxi for signature, he gave her 3,000 yuan. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Sorting and Procurement. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Sorting and Procurement. Thank you 2 uncles. Lin Qingxi happily signed his name and took 3,200 yuan from Director Su's hand. He also received various receipts issued by the hospital and took Lin Yizheng home. Since they have already started working in the hospital, they are no longer eligible to live in the house allocated by the hospital. The most important thing now is to arrange the follow-up matters. Lin Qingxi thought for a long time and decided to take Lin Yizheng and the 4 of them back to her biological mother's hometown, because her biological grandparents are still there. According to her mother, grandparents and the others are good, and several uncles are also good. She took her 4 children back, so she should be able to help her. Even if she doesn't help, she's not afraid. With a medical certificate in hand and space, is it possible that she won't be able to support her 5 people? It's just a joke. Returning home, Lin Qingxi wrote 2 letters, one to his elder brother Lin Qingping, telling him that he had recommended inheriting the work of Lin's father and mother, and planned to take the children back to his mother's hometown of Zhujiadan in Qinyan County. He also said that he would reply to his letter after Zhujiadan settled down. The other letter was sent back to Zhujiadan. She sent it back and said she wanted to settle down in Zhujiadan. She also explained her current situation. If she agreed to settle down in Zhujiadan with her 4 children, she would go back to Zhujiadan. If she didn't agree, she would find a new place to settle down. Yizheng, go and send these 2 letters separately. Quietly organize the things at home, and Yirong and I will go out to do something. Lin Qingxi put away the pen and gave the 2 sealed letters to Lin Yizheng, then took a few cents to send the letters to him. Okay, auntie, then I'll go, Lin Yizheng nodded. He didn't ask for these 2 letters, but took the money and went out to send them. Auntie, what are you going out to do? Take me with you, I can also help you. Xiang Yijing felt very uneasy, afraid that Lin Qingxi would just leave the siblings behind. Since her mother was gone, her father didn't care about the siblings and sent them to the aunt. He left the money and tickets and ran away. There has been no news until now, and he doesn't know why he went. Quiet, you should take Kankan with you at home, and your aunt should go out to do something very important. Lin Qingxi looked at Yijing, her younger brother, with a sigh in his heart, but said, I can't stay here. My aunt will take you 4 back to your hometown, and your grandma's hometown. So you should look after your brother at home and pack up your things. My aunt will take your second brother to buy things. My hometown is very poor, and there is nothing. Got it, auntie, then you and second brother should go back quickly. My younger brother and I are waiting for you at home, Xiang Yijing said. As soon as she heard that she wouldn't leave them alone, she felt much more at ease and no longer watched Lin Qingxi go out to do things. Lin Qingxi didn't rush out, but found all the money and tickets of Lin's father and mother, sorted out all the current assets in the family, and found that there were still 358 yuan in cash, 32 pounds and 8 taels of military grain tickets, 30 feet of cloth tickets, 5 pounds of meat tickets, and some other tickets. Then he dug out a 58 yuan passbook, which was named after Lin's father. Lin Qingxi knew that it was the savings of several families over the years. Bring all the money and then the household registration book. Lin Qingxi took this money and the household registration book to the local public security bureau to change her household registration first. She became the head of the household, and Lin Yizheng and the 4 of them were in her household registration, with a relationship between her nephew and nephew. After the household registration was changed, she went to the bank with her old and new household registration books, and saved 13,000 yuan and the previous 5,800 yuan together, changing her name to herself. Immediately after, she went to the supply and marketing cooperative and used the non-food tickets and other miscellaneous tickets. After leaving the supply and marketing cooperative, Lin Qingxi looked at Lin Yizheng and Lin Yirong, who came later, and whispered, You 2 take your things back first. Auntie is going to the black market. Auntie, be careful then. Lin Yizheng opened his mouth, intending to make her not go, but thinking of a few mouths at home, he couldn't say anything and could only advise him to be careful. Well, don't worry. Lin Qingxi touched Lin Yizheng's head and asked them to go home quickly. After they left, Lin Qingxi found a deserted place and took out 5 kilograms of millet and 2 kilograms of brown sugar from the space. He then found a place near the supply and marketing cooperative to sit down. Lin Qingxi ignored the gaze of others looking at her. Every time someone walked towards her, she would open the bag a little and let people see the xiaomi and brown sugar inside, but no one came up from beginning to end. Little sister, how do you sell xiaomi and brown sugar? After half an hour, a man in his 30s walked towards her, looking at xiaomi in Lin Qingxi's arms, and asked in surprise. What can you exchange for? Lin Qingxi secretly observed the middle-aged man and asked in response. Is the national food ticket okay? The man asked. I have a total of 20 kilograms of national food tickets. How do you want to exchange them? Is it okay to exchange 1 kilogram of millet for 1 kilogram of rice with a 5 plus 1 kilogram grain ticket? Can you exchange 2 kilograms of brown sugar for 10 kilograms of rice tickets? Lin Qingxi finished speaking and calmly looked at the man. Although she called the price higher, she also asked. The Supply and Marketing Society is currently in short supply of millet and brown sugar to supplement their health. Sure, these are 7 yuan 5 and 15 Jin grain coupons. The man hesitated for a moment before exchanging them. After paying Lin Qingxi and delivering the goods, the 2 of them left separately. After Lin Qingxi left, she changed places to continue trading. She traded several places and exchanged her 30 pounds of military district grain tickets for 60 pounds of national grain tickets. Then, she bought all 30 feet of cloth tickets in grey-white fine cotton cloth. She also exchanged a 5-pound meat ticket for 3 pounds, in exchange for a small lamb and a dying cow. Of course, she also paid 20 yuan. As soon as she arrived at a deserted place, she put all these things into the space. Looking at the sky, Lin Qingxi quickly went home. Seeing her safe return, Lin Yizheng and the 4 of them breathed a sigh of relief. After finishing the soup prepared by Xiang Yijing, the 5 of them washed up and sat in the living room. They looked at Lin Qingxi, wanting to know what they should do next. "Tomorrow, we will stay at home to pack up our things. After packing up, we will send back the big items the day after tomorrow. We will put the small items in a bundle, and bring back what we can. If we can't, we will distribute it to our neighbors according to the situation. Then, when we receive the letter from your uncle, we will set off for Zhujiatan." Looking at Lin Yizheng and the 4 of them, Lin Qingxi didn't intend to treat them like children and directly expressed her own plans. "Got it, Auntie, let's tidy up our things properly in the next few days," Xiang Yijing nodded. "As long as our auntie doesn't throw them away, we can talk about the future." "Well, the main thing is for auntie to tidy up. You guys should go out and say goodbye to your friends these days. I don't know if we can see each other again in the future," Lin Qingxi whispered as she hugged Xiang Yijing and looked at everyone. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Sorting and Procurement. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Sorting and Procurement. Got it, Auntie/Auntie. Everyone felt a bit down when they heard Lin Qingxi's words, but Lin Qingxi didn't bother and went straight back to the room to rest. As soon as Lin Qingxi left, the remaining 4 of them also went back to their rooms. The Lin family had 3 rooms, with Lin Yizheng and his brothers having 1 room, and Xiang Yijing and Xiang Yikong having 1 room. Lin Qingxi then moved into Lin's father and mother's room. In the middle of the night, Lin Qingxi woke up after sleeping for a few hours. She first went to see Lin Yizheng and Xiang Yijing, and made sure they didn't kick the blanket, so she went back to her room. What Lin Qingxi didn't know was that Lin Yizheng and Xiang Yijing were worried that Lin Qingxi wouldn't want them. They ran away alone at night and didn't dare to sleep at all. It was only when they realized that Lin Qingxi was coming to cover themselves with a blanket and made sure they wouldn't be left behind that they dared to sleep peacefully. Lin Qingxi returned to her room and entered the space. All the things she had bought were piled up on the grass without coming in to tidy up properly. Finally, she had time to tidy up. As soon as Lin Qingxi entered, she saw a small wooden house on the grassland of the space. The small wooden house was connected by 3 rooms, with the living room and dining room in the middle, and the bedroom and kitchen on the left and right respectively. Lin Qingxi walked into the living room and saw a letter on the wooden table. Opening the letter, she realized that the old lady was the true owner of the space, Qingxian Ferry. Now she has reached an agreement with Qingxian Ferry that she will collect antique calligraphy, paintings, gold, silver, and jewelry for Qingxian Ferry to absorb spiritual energy. After she recovers from her injuries, this space will belong to Lin Qingxi and truly belong to him, the kind of soul binding with her. In addition to this letter, there is also a cultivation method for spiritual power. The reason why she passed on the cultivation method is also to make it convenient for her to work in the space and quickly exchange more antique calligraphy and paintings. Lin Qingxi put away the letter and then began practicing techniques. The method of cultivating spiritual power is very simple, which is meditation induction. After practicing for a long time, Lin Qingxi still hasn't started yet, so she plans to organize the materials she bought and this small wooden house. Lin Qingxi walked out and carefully observed the space, which was about 100 acres in size and divided into 4 areas. To the east was a mountain, to the south was a lake, to the west was a field, and to the north was an empty grassland. The wooden house was located on the north grassland, and next to it was a 10-acre warehouse for storing antique calligraphy and paintings. Lin Qingxi walked to the place where the supplies were piled up. He first put the fish and seafood he had bought before into the lake to raise them, then put 4 pairs of chicks on the east mountain, and drove the ducklings and geese to the fields to the west. Then, Lin Qingxi gathered a net and surrounded 3 100-square-meter sheds at the foot of Dongshan, raising the piglets, lambs, and the cows separately. After finishing these tasks, it had been 2 or 3 hours. Lin Qingxi quickly opened 2 small plots of land next to the shed, planted some cucumbers, tomatoes, and watermelons, and quickly made way for the space. Sure enough, upon leaving the space, it was already bright outside. Lin Qingxi moved her body and put the muddy shoes on her feet into the space. She changed into a pair of clean shoes and went to prepare breakfast for the family. It's early April now, when the weather is gradually warming up. Lin Qingxi went to the kitchen to take a look and poured out the remaining 2 pounds of white noodles, preparing to make steamed buns for the family. Coincidentally, there was still a piece of meat at home. To reconcile the noodles, Lin Qingxi washed a cabbage. We started to seize the opportunity, leaving enough meat for 10 buns, and mixing the remaining meat with cabbage. "Auntie, what do you have for breakfast?" Lin Yijing squinted his eyes and walked out of the room with a sleepless expression, followed by Xiang Yijing. "There are still 2 pounds of white noodles left. I'll make steamed buns for you in the morning. Hurry up and brush your teeth and wash your face. I'll come over and help my sister-in-law make steamed buns later." Lin Qingxi turned to look at the siblings who hadn't fallen asleep and quickly rushed them to wash up. "Okay, we'll be here soon." Lin Yijing and Xiang Yijing woke up immediately upon hearing about eating steamed buns, and quickly went to the bathroom to wash up. Lin Qingxi didn't care about him either. After stirring up the bun filling and waking up the noodles, Lin Qingxi began to make buns. She had just made a few, but Lin Yijing and Xiang Yijing came to help. After the buns were wrapped, Lin Qingxi washed her hands and went to pack up. Lin Yijing looked at the pot and Xiang Yijing went to wash the dirty clothes that everyone had changed yesterday. Lin Qingxi went into Lin's father and mother's room, which is now her own room. She put away Lin's father and mother's clothes and put them in the nearby Kong cabinet. In addition to the Kong cabinet, there were also daily necessities such as bedding and shoes that Lin's father and mother had used, which were also put into the cabinet and then stored in the wooden house in the space. After collecting all Lin's things, the room instantly became much empty. Then, Lin Qingxi went to the rooms of Lin Yijing and Xiang Yijing, but only collected a few blankets and their thick clothes into the Kong cabinet, and then put them into the space. Of course, she first took the Kong cabinet outside and said she wanted to mail it back to Zhejiang, but in reality, it was stored in the space. Including her own clothes, she only left a few singles and a coat for the 5 of them to change clothes, and also left a thin blanket. She collected the rest into the space. After staying at home for 2 days, Lin Qingxi tidied up the house from inside out, putting large and valuable items into the space, including bicycles and sewing machines. During the day, Lin Qingxi tidied up his things and went into the space to work at night. After a few nights, Lin Qingxi planted all the fruit seeds, including watermelons, cantaloupes, which could only be grown in 1 or 2 crops. He planted them on the grassland in the north, and fruit trees such as apples and oranges were planted on the mountains of Dongshan. In the fields to the west, Lin Qingxi cleared 2 acres to raise ducks and geese. The remaining fields were used to cultivate some rice and wheat seedlings, and he planned to plant the remaining 20.8 acres with rice and wheat. Then on the grassland to the north, Lin Qingxi planted 5 acres of sweet potatoes, 3 acres of potatoes, and taro, as well as 5 acres of vegetables. He left 5 acres of land to plant fruits such as watermelons, and the rest planted some common Chinese herbs. After several days of hard work, Lin Qingxi's spiritual cultivation has also entered the door, and he can use his spiritual power to do some simple soil loosening work. The wooden house was also neatly organized by Lin Qingxi, and she laid bedding on the bedroom. Her clothes were also organized and put into a cabinet, and her shoes were neatly placed on the ground. The middle living room was the same. Lin Qingxi placed the ashes of Lin's parents and Lin Qingxi on a cabinet in the corner, and even made a bowl to hold some mud. Whenever she had time, she would incense them. Not to mention in the kitchen, Lin Qingxi put in small household appliances such as rice cookers and assembled the solar generator. One set was placed in the kitchen and the other in the bedroom, and she had a small bathroom in the bedroom. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Reply and Ticket Purchase. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Reply and Ticket Purchase. The solar light bulb and flashlight she bought before were also placed on the wooden frame in the living room, which she could see at a glance. The large freezer was placed in the living room, while some of the other supplies, seasonings, and food were left in the kitchen. She sorted them out and put them in the warehouse. At the same time, in the distant Zhou Dai family of Zhujiatan in Qingyuan County, the two elders did not go to work due to their old age, but stayed at home to recuperate. Zhou Dai has 2 sons and 2 daughters. The youngest daughter is Zhou Guiying, the biological mother of Lin Qingxi. The eldest son Zhou Guijiang has 3 sons, and the second son Zhou Guihe also has 2 sons. Therefore, Zhou Dai made the decision to fairly and justly divide the youngest son after the new year. Zhou Guizhi, the eldest daughter, has also been married for over 20 years. She has 2 sons, both of whom have given birth to a grandson. She settled in Qinghe City, and her husband is the director of the Qinghe City Supply and Marketing Society. She was also arranged to sell goods in the society. The eldest son and his wife work at the Qinghe City Steel Plant, while the eldest daughter Law is a union worker and the youngest son runs transportation. On that day, as usual, Zhou Dai was weaving bamboo baskets at home when he saw village chief Zhou Guitang walking into his house with a letter. Guitang is so willing to come and sit at home today, old lady. Hurry up and pour a glass of water for Guitang, Zhou Dai said to Zhou Guitang before shouting loudly into the kitchen. Soon, Zhou Dai's wife, Zhou Jinshi, poured out a bowl of water. Zhou Guitang took a sip and said seriously, Uncle Dai, please stop for a moment. Here is an urgent registered letter for you, sent by someone named Lin Qingxi. Take a look. After Zhou Guitang finished speaking, he handed over the letter in his hand. Zhou Dai didn't answer it and said directly, it was sent by my little daughter Guiying. Please take a look at what was written in the letter. I don't know how many big characters, so I won't read it. Okay, Zhou Guitang thought for a moment before opening the letter. The more he looked at it, the more serious his expression became. After reading it, he looked at Zhou Dai and said, Uncle Dai, the letter says that Guiying and his wife sacrificed their lives on duty. Qingxi's niece wants to bring her 2 nephews to our Zhujiatan and settle down there. What, my young master is gone? How could that be? Upon hearing Zhou Guitang's words, Zhou Dai and his wife were so shocked that everything in their hands fell off and asked incredulously. It's true. Guiying and her wife have been away for almost 2 months now. Qingxi also said that her elder brother Qingping has been transferred to the border, and Qingyan is no longer there. That's why she wants to bring her 4 children back to our Zhujiatan. She also said that there is someone over there who wants to marry her, but she doesn't want to get married, but she can't help but sell the job that Guiying left behind. Zhou Guitang agreed with both hands and feet to allow Lin Qingxi to bring the children back. The letter stated that she not only obtained a medical certificate, but also graduated from high school. Without saying anything else, she was only focused on her medical certificate and had to find a way to coax the people back. Zhujiatan is notorious for being poor nearby. Not only is the issue of marriage for the younger generation in the village a difficult problem, but they also have no money. Although they have enough to eat, they cannot eat enough, and can only ensure that everyone will not die from hunger. How could this be? My family's in and is only in his 20s, how could it be gone? Qingxi is only in his 40s, said Zhou Jinshi, tears streaming down her face. Although Lin Qingping and Lin Qingyan were not born to her daughter, they also showed filial piety towards them and were close to the Zhou family. After spending so much time together, they were not biological and had no difference from their own. Guitang, could you please write me a letter to my daughter Shi, so that she can bring her children back? Our Zhou family can afford it, Zhou Dai said in a low voice, clearly not having regained consciousness from the news just now. Uncle Dai, Auntie, that's what I think. Miss Shi has a medical certificate and can come back to become a barefoot doctor, which can also block the mouths of other villagers and make it easier for them to accept her and her 4 children. What do you think? Zhou Guitang looked at Zhou Dai and analyzed his current situation seriously. Zhou Dai also knows that some people in the village are difficult to deal with. Anyway, his granddaughter also holds a medical certificate, but he is not afraid to become this barefoot doctor. Okay, as for the treatment, you can talk to her on your own after she comes back. Guitang, I'll leave the matter of replying to you, and uncle won't see you off, Zhou Dai said, waving his hand and supporting Zhou Jin into the hall. Zhou Guitang looked at the back of Zhou Dai and his wife, and a hint of sympathy flashed in his heart, but he didn't say anything. He took note of the address on the letter and went home to write a letter. Due to being in a hurry, Zhou Guitang also sent a registered letter. When Lin Qingxi received the letter, it was already 5 days later. In the blink of an eye, Lin Qingxi had been back for almost half a month. After receiving the letter, she called Lin Yirong and the 4 of them over and looked at them with a smile, saying, "You guys go pack your things. We'll set off tomorrow and go back." Okay, let's go pack up now. These days, Lin Yizheng and his family have been worried that the Zhou family won't agree to their return. Now, after hearing Lin Qingxi's words, they finally put their hearts back in their stomachs. Hurry up. The large items have already been sent back, and we need to take all the remaining items with us. Please organize them carefully. I'm going out to buy tickets now, Lin Qingxi said, bringing her household registration book and ticket and then left. They are currently in Pingyao City, relatively close to the border, but there are still several cities far from the border, and even further away from Zhujiatan. Just taking a train back requires taking a 10-day and 10-night train, and there are also transfers midway. Arriving at the train station, Lin Qingxi looked at the empty ticket hall and quickly went up to prepare to buy tickets. Hello, I need a ticket to Fengshe. When do I have it? Do you have a sleeper? Tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock, there are sleepers. How many people? Bring the introduction letter and household registration book over and take a look. The ticket seller picked up the book and looked up at Lin Qingxi. 5 people, 2 sleepers, Lin Qingxi said and handed over the introduction letter and household registration book. Nowadays, introduction letters are needed everywhere. Lin Qingxi had already prepared a bunch of stamped introduction letters and opened an introduction letter to buy tickets in Zhujiatan, but the date was not specified. Sure, 20.8 yuan per ticket, 250.6 tickets, the ticket seller checked the authenticity of the introduction letter, then looked at the household registration book and confirmed that there were no issues, so he returned it. Nowadays, it's not just a few people buying a few tickets to take the train, so Lin Qingxi dares to buy 2 tickets for 5 people. It's a bit of a savings, right? Lin Qingxi took the train ticket, household registration book, and introduction letter, and then took these things along with the certificate issued by Zhou Guitang to receive the 5 of them to settle down, and went to the Public Security Bureau to handle the transfer of household registration and the transfer of grain and oil. Of course, when transferring these, she first collected various tickets for the 5 people this month. Although it was tomorrow night's train, she also had to prepare some dry food for the journey, and these tickets came in handy. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Pack your things. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Pack your things. When Lin Yizheng returned home, Lin Qingxi looked at the empty house and said to Lin Yizheng with a smile, "You all pack up now. How do you sleep at night? Pack up what you don't need first, and what you still need. Just pack up tomorrow. After listening to Lin Qingxi's words, Lin Yizheng and others casually touched their heads and then went to reorganize their things. Without caring about a few small things, Lin Qingxi called Xiang Yijing to the kitchen to prepare dinner because there was not much food on the open noodles at home. In addition, Lin Qingxi and the others were leaving tomorrow. In the evening, they took out a piece of preserved meat and a few eggs that had been hidden for a long time and fried them. After a sumptuous dinner, Lin Qingxi and the others went back to their respective rooms to rest. The next day, Lin Qingxi and Lin Yizheng said that they had just received tickets and went to the supply and marketing cooperative to buy things. After buying, they continued to go to the black market to exchange things. This time, she exchanged a piece of preserved meat and a piece of preserved fish. After changing things and returning home, Lin Qingxi diced the cured meat into sauce and put it in a glass jar. This glass jar was still the one Lin's father bought them canned fruits and left behind after eating. Cut the cured fish into pieces, stir-fry them with chili, and then make 30 or 40 mantou with corn flour taken from the space. When mantou are ready, steam them and put them in the window to cool. Lunch was simple, just goosebump soup. After finishing, everyone went back to their room and slept for a while. After waking up, Lin Qingxi checked everyone's luggage and found that they were all scattered and not properly organized. Alright, let's go rest for a while. Our important person will be guarding the night to check their luggage. Yizheng, you and Yerome will be guarding the night together, so let's go to sleep for a while. I'll pack my luggage. Lin Qingxi shook her head. It seemed that De himself had to reorganize their luggage. Okay, Auntie, let's go to bed then, Lin Yizheng readily agreed. In his opinion, his aunt valued him and entrusted him and his younger brother with the important task of guarding the night. Quietly, keep an eye on your younger brother, then go to the kitchen to boil a few pots of hot water, fill our military water kettles with boiling water, and leave them in the car to drink. Lin Qingyan turned around and looked at Xiang Yijing, driving her to work, so that she could take the opportunity to put some luggage in the space. When Xiang Yijing heard that he was going to assign tasks to himself, he was also very happy and agreed. He took Xiang Yikong to the kitchen to boil water, added water, and then found 7 military water kettles at home. After the water boiled, he first boiled it with hot water and then poured the boiling water into the kettle. Father Lin bought a military water bottle for everyone in the family, so that everyone could have a water bottle to use instead of using someone else's water bottle. After leaving the living room alone, Lin Qingxi began to tidy up the clothes of Lin Yizheng and the others. First, she separated and stacked their clothes, then went to the room to take out Lin's father's suitcase, which was an old large suitcase. Then, she put in the clothes of Lin Yizheng and the 4 of them, and put in 2 sets of single clothes for her own laundry. As for the shoes, she took the opportunity to put them in the space. Several metal and wooden buckets at home were also taken into the space by her under the pretext of shipping fees, leaving only 1 wooden bucket and metal bucket for washing and washing face in the car. As for toothbrushes and other toiletries, they were all packed in a box by Lin Qingxi and placed in the wooden bucket. Reduce the items into a large suitcase and 2 large bags. Lin Qingxi collected some scattered items with another small bag and then put them in the space. After she finished organizing her things, Xiang Yijing also filled the military kettle with hot water. Lin Qingxi placed her luggage on the ground next to her and then went to the kitchen to prepare lunch. Lin Qingxi stir-fried all the remaining dishes, made a big bowl of mixed stew, and packed 2 boxes of vegetables in 2 aluminum lunch boxes. The rest was for lunch and dinner. Quiet, take your younger brother to eat first. Let your older brother and second brother sleep for a while longer. Lin Qingxi affectionately touched Xiang Yikong's head. Their father had disappeared a few days ago, just like in the previous life, he died with those people. After Lin Qingxi returned, it was not that he did not want to go back and save his life. It was just that the relationship between Xiangjin and Lin Qingyan was extraordinary. Xiangjin was an orphan, picked up by Lin's father as his son, but he did not expect his son to become a son.in.law. So, Lin Qingxi did not participate in these activities. For moving forward, perhaps avenging Lin Qingxi and following him would be the best choice. On the contrary, whether it's Lin Qingxi or Xiang Qianjin, their relationship is just like that of Xiang Yijing's siblings, because these siblings have been living in the Lin family since their full moon, which can be considered as being raised by Lin Qingxi, including the Lin Yijing brothers. A few days ago, Xiangjin packed up all the things at home and brought them to the Lin family, including all the money and tickets. Then he left alone, his whereabouts unknown. 2 days later, the advancing comrades brought over the ashes of the advancing soldiers, and it was only then that Lin Qingxi and the others learned about the matter of advancing. "I know, Auntie, you should eat quickly." Xiang Yijing smiled and quickly took a mantu to Lin Qingxi. After finishing the meal, Lin Qingxi rushed Xiang Yijing and his siblings to the room to take a nap. He tidied up the kitchen himself, leaving behind the chopsticks used by the 5 people, and put the other bowls and chopsticks into the metal bucket before storing them in the space. Including seasonings such as oil and salt at home, as well as boilers, the Lin family used a coal stove, not a firewood stove. The remaining coal balls were also stored in a snake skin bag by her. Under the guidance of Lin Qingxi, the kitchen became empty. Although the Lin family's house was allocated to the hospital, all the furniture inside was purchased by Lin's parents at their own expense. Lin Qingxi did not intend to leave these for those who later moved in, so naturally all of them were collected into the empty space. After tidying up her things, Lin Qingxi also went back to her room to sleep. She slept until 5 p.m. in the afternoon. When Lin Qingxi woke up, she went to see Lin Yijing and the 4 of them. Seeing that they were still asleep, she woke them up one by one and went to the bathroom to wash herself. After washing, Lin Qingxi takes out 10 mantu and takes out the leftovers at noon. When Lin Yijing and his family finish washing, they come to eat. It's almost 6 o'clock after finishing. It takes an hour to walk from home to the train station, and it also takes half an hour to take the ox cart. Yijing, Yirong, you two carry this big suitcase downstairs and wait for me. Yijing, you lead Yikong and carry these 2 buckets down. When we arrive downstairs, Yijing goes nearby to call a cart to take us to the train station. Yirong comes up and helps me carry these 2 bags down. After Lin Qingxi finished speaking, she took the dishes and went to the kitchen to clean them. By the time she finished washing them, Xiang Yijing and the 4 of them had disappeared. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Taking the train. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Taking the train. Lin Qingxi took the opportunity to put the extra dishes into the space, then went to the room and put the bed and wardrobe in the space. After Lin Qingxi finished collecting, the whole room became empty. She locked the door, carried 2 large bags on the ground, and went downstairs. Just as they arrived at the staircase, they met Lin Yirong, who came up. Lin Qingxi divided a bundle for him to carry and then went downstairs together. When they arrived downstairs, Lin Qingxi asked them to look at their luggage and went to find Director Su to return the keys. Since they were leaving, the house had to be returned. Returning the key, Lin Yijing happened to come over with a cart. He was a kind-hearted villager from a nearby village and used to be one of Lin's father's patients. Helping to carry the packages onto the train together, and then carrying the youngest one, Xiang Yikong, onto the train, Lin Yiqing and she took the ox cart and set off towards the train station. I had already paid before I arrived at the train station. It was only around 7:10 when I arrived at the station and unloaded my luggage. Lin Qingxi gave me 1 yuan as the fare. Yijing, you and Yirong will stay with Yikong to watch their luggage. Yijing will follow me to buy things. We need to buy more, otherwise we will have to spend money to buy food in the car. When Lin Qingxi came to buy a train ticket, he stepped on it and knew that there was a small supply and marketing agency nearby. In addition, he still had some unused regional tickets, so he thought he would use them all here, otherwise he wouldn't be able to use them if he went there. Got it, Auntie, you guys need to come back quickly, Lin Qingxi nodded. He knew the importance, so he wouldn't argue to go with him. Lin Qingxi nodded and walked towards the direction of the supply and marketing cooperative with Xiang Jing. She still had dozens of pounds of grain tickets and a few pounds of meat tickets in her hand, 60 feet of cloth tickets, and some side food tickets. As soon as they arrived at the supply and marketing cooperative, Lin Qingxi pulled towards Yi Jing and headed straight to the cloth buying counter. Comrade, I want 20 feet each of dark blue and gray coarse cloth, 10 feet each of light blue cloth and 10 feet each of gray-white cotton cloth. Okay, the salesperson took the cloth ticket handed over by Lin Qingxi and carefully examined it. It turned out to be a ticket from the military region. No wonder it was so much at once, and without much thought, she just pulled the cloth and gave it to her. Lin Qingxi took the cloth, folded it and handed it to Xiang Yijing. Then he went to the pastry counter next door. 3 jin each for rice paste cake, bean paste cake, chicken cake, rice noodles and cut cake. How much is it all together? Lin Qingxi spoke and took out the money and tickets. Otherwise, the food tickets wouldn't be available over there and there wouldn't be time to exchange for the national food tickets. That's why she couldn't bear to use them like this. A total of 10 yuan and 8 cents for a family of 20 kilograms of grain tickets, the salesperson said while weighing Lin Qingxi. Okay, how do we sell this cigarette? Do we need a ticket? Lin Qingxi looked at the cigarette next to him and thought to himself, Uncle and Uncle are all old tobacco warehouses, so he wanted to buy 2 packs and bring them back. 2 liang of grain and 50 cents per bag, the salesperson said in a low voice as he listened to Lin Qingxi's words and looked around. No one noticed them. After listening to the salesperson's words, Lin Qingxi knew what was going on. It was obvious that buying cigarettes required a ticket, but she had a grain ticket and the salesperson had a cigarette ticket that could be exchanged. Okay, take 10 bags, Lin Qingxi said, handing over the money and tickets, and then taking the cigarettes and pastries handed over by the salesperson. Immediately after, Lin Qingxi went to buy 4 bags of big white rabbit milk candy and also bought 2 pounds of loose fruit candy. After using up the sugar tickets, he used up the remaining side food tickets. Lin Qingxi and Xiang Yijing returned to the train station holding big and small bags. Finding Lin Yijing and the others, Lin Qingxi reorganized her bundle, avoided Lin Yijing and the others, and left a pack of big white rabbit milk candy in the bundle. She kept a little of everything else, and everything else was stored in the space. After resting in place for about 10 minutes, the train arrived at the station. Lin Qingxi took out his train ticket and introduction letter, then picked up a large suitcase and another big package and looked at Lin Yijing, saying, Yijing, please take this big package with you and squeeze it up with me. Yirong, you 3 stay here for now until I put down my things before picking you up. Okay, Auntie, you need to hurry up, Lin Yirong nodded. He knew there were too many people in this meeting, and they would definitely not be able to squeeze in. They were all children, how could they squeeze out anyone else? Lin Qingxi nodded and immediately led Lin Yijing into the crowd, following the crowd and getting on the train. After finding her spot, Lin Qingxi placed her luggage on the bed and instructed Lin Yijing to take care of it before getting off the train. Let's go. Let's hold my younger brother's hand and follow me, Rong, Lin Qingxi said. She picked up the remaining miscellaneous luggage, while Lin Yijing only carried a relatively light wooden bucket and a heavy iron passed through her. Fortunately, most people had already boarded the train, and when Lin Qingxi and the others got on, there were not many people. The 4 of them easily arrived at the parking spot with their luggage. The sleeper has 3 beds, 1 on the top, 1 on the middle, and 1 on the bottom. Lin Qingxi bought 2 beds on the right side, and after the 5 of them met, Lin Qingxi placed a large suitcase under the bed. 2 large bags were placed on the 2 beds as pillows, and 2 buckets were also placed under the bed. After Lin Qingxi sorted out the remaining miscellaneous luggage, he put it in one of the big bags. Yi Rong, take Yi Kong to climb up and rest. Yi Zheng, you stay up at night while I sleep with Yi Jing. If Yijing can't hold on at night, wake me up and I'll stay up at night. After Lin Qingxi finished speaking, Lin Yirong climbed up to the middle bed first, and then Lin Qingxi and the others helped transport Xiang Yikang up. "Auntie, I want to go to the bathroom," Lin Qingxi said to Yijing as she finished her work and was about to sit down for a rest. "Yijing, please keep an eye on me." "I'll take Yijing to the bathroom," Lin Qingxi nodded and stared at Lin Yirong. Then, she took Xiangjing to the bathroom and also went to the bathroom herself. After the two of them returned to their beds, they immediately lay down to rest. Soon, the train began to shake, and not long after, the entire carriage quieted down, emitting bursts of snoring. After Xiang Yijing fell asleep, Lin Qingxi closed her eyes and began to cultivate her spiritual power. After more than 10 days of hard work, Lin Qingxi was able to concentrate her spiritual power, but she couldn't detach it from her body. Not long after dawn, Lin Qingxi retreated from his cultivation and looked at Lin Yijing sitting on a large suitcase with a bright and lively expression. Lin Qingxi nodded to himself, then woke up Xiang Yijing and took her to the place where she was getting hot water to brush her teeth and wash her face. Then, he used a large enamel cup to get a cup of hot water and went back. "Yijing, go wash up quickly. It's time for breakfast later. Yijing, wake up Yirong and Yikang, and then take them to wash up." Lin Qingxi left them alone and took out the cloth bag containing mantu from the big package. Then he went to the wooden bucket and took out the aluminum box lunchbox, bacon sauce and dried fish pieces together. Then he took out 5 pairs of chopsticks. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Rest at transfer stations. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Rest at transfer stations, come and eat. Lin Qingxi took out breakfast and prepared it. Lin Yirong and the others finished washing up and came back. She sat inside and asked Xiang Yijing and Xiang Yikang to sit down. Lin Yirong and Lin Yijing had no place to sit, so they had to stand up. Quickly, the 5 of them finished their breakfast. At this moment, the others in the carriage gradually got up. They were surprised to see Lin Qingxi and his group sitting in the lower bunk eating breakfast. Unexpectedly, as soon as they got up, someone had already eaten it. The excitement lasted for an hour, and after 8 o'clock, the carriage slowly quieted down, but it wasn't completely quiet either, it just wasn't as noisy as before. "Yijing, why don't you go up and take a nap? You worked hard on the night watch last night, and I called you to wake up after lunch. Tonight, I'll be on the night watch, so you can sleep peacefully." Lin Qingxi finished speaking and looked at Lin Yijing sitting on a large suitcase resting, his expression very serious. "Okay, auntie, then I'll go take a nap." Lin Yijing didn't refuse either. He knew that Lin Qingxi couldn't keep him on guard all the time. Lin Yijing climbed onto the middle bunk and lay down for only a few minutes before snoring began. It was obvious that he was already tired, but he had been struggling to hold on. After Lin Yijing fell asleep, Lin Qingxi and the others consciously lowered their voices to make him sleep more comfortably. On the train, it was boring and stuffy. Lin Qingxi had nothing to do, so she took out a medical book and unpacked the packaging of the big white rabbit milk candy. She gave each of Lin Yirong and the others 2 to eat and play with. Soon, at noon, the food was still dry mantu, and there was still a little bit of chowder left in the morning. Not enough was eaten, but some diced bacon was also eaten. During lunch, Lin Qingxi saw that Lin Yijing was sleeping soundly, so she didn't wake him up or ask Lin Yirong and the others to call him. It wasn't until around 2 o'clock that she asked Lin Yirong to wake him up for lunch. "Yijing, after you finish eating, take the lunch box over there and rinse it with hot water. The lunch box is very clean without any oil stains." When Lin Yijing finishes rinsing the lunch box and comes back, Lin Qingxi will put away the diced preserved meat and the pieces of preserved fish. Lin Qingxi still looked at medical books, occasionally looking at the playful Lin Yijing and his 4 companions. They grew up together since childhood and their relationship was not average. The time on the train passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. the next station where the train stopped was arrived. This time, there were many people getting on and off the train, and it stopped for about an hour before restarting. This time by standing, someone came to Lin Qingxi's upper bunk. He was a man in his 20s who looked cold. Lin Qingxi didn't pay attention to him, nor did he let Lin Yizheng and the others pay attention to him. After stopping at the station this time, the train took another 5 days to stop. During these 5 days, even if Lin Qingxi and his companions were saving money to eat, they still paid for 2 meals, which made Lin Yizheng and his companions feel heartbroken. Yizheng, you first look at your luggage in the car. Airong took down the big suitcase and bundle, and then you followed behind with the remaining luggage. After a moment of silence, you looked at your younger brother. Lin Qingxi said, carrying a large suitcase and carrying a big bundle, leading the way ahead. Lin Qingxi secretly used his mental strength to bounce away the others and smoothly got off the car with Lin Yizheng and the 4 of them. It was getting dark outside, and Lin Qingxi found an empty space to put down his luggage. He then instructed Lin Yizheng to keep an eye on his luggage and people, and went to the ticket office to buy tickets. However, he found out that the next ticket to Qinghe City was at least a day later, which means they would be staying at this transfer station for 2 nights and a day. Unable to do anything, Lin Qingxi had to buy 2 sleepers first and then went to the neighboring guest house to open 2 rooms, waiting for the train the day after tomorrow. Alright, let's go to the guest house to put down our luggage first, and then go to the state-owned restaurant for dinner. There will be no trains left this time, so we can only stay here for now. Returning to Lin Yizheng and the others, Lin Qingxi revealed the situation and then took them to the guest house with their luggage. Due to Lin Qingxi opening the room in advance, holding the key, and the 5 people carrying their luggage upstairs, she opened 2 single rooms, 1 for each gender. Putting down her luggage, Lin Qingxi took her household registration book, introduction letter, and money ticket, and went downstairs to the front desk to inquire about the location of the state-owned restaurant, then went to eat at the state-owned restaurant. Lin Qingxi asked Lin Yizheng and his younger siblings to find a table to sit down at, and then went to the window to order. However, before ordering, she checked the blackboard to see what dishes were available. "Hello comrade, may I ask what else is on top of this?" The waiter at the window is a young woman in her 30s who looks quite kind-hearted. Egg vegetable soup, braised pork belly and braised fish are still available, and the staple food is noodles, rice and mantou. "What do you want?" The young woman gave Lin Qingxi a lot from beginning to end, and wondered if she had money to eat. 2 portions of braised pork belly, 5 portions of egg pudding soup and 5 bowls of noodles. Lin Qingxi was very happy to see that there were still meat and vegetables. Although there was bacon on the bus, he still craved meat. A total of 3 yuan and a half kilogram of food stamps. Half a kilogram of food can't be found, or the 6 mantou. The young woman asked without looking up after Lin Qingxi's 5 yuan and 2 kilogram national food stamps. Yes, Lin Qingxi agreed without much thought. Anyway, it's not hot now, and mantou can be eaten as breakfast tomorrow after being released. "I'll wait over there and ask you to come and pick up the bowl when it's ready," the young woman said and gave Lin Qingxi 2 yuan in change. Lin Qingxi took the money back and came to Lin Yizheng to sit down and wait for 10 minutes. The young woman called. She took Lin Yizheng and Lin Yirong to serve bowls. After several trips, she quickly brought egg pudding soup and noodles. A few minutes later, braised pork belly was all right. When Lin Qingxi took braised pork belly back, he took 6 mantou with him. Sure enough, 6 mantou could not be reserved for breakfast the next day, because Lin Yirong and Lin Yizheng didn't have anything to eat. They ate 2 mantou each, and 1 was left. Lin Qingxi shared it. After eating and drinking enough, Lin Qingxi took everyone back to the guest house. It was already too late, and tired, Lin Qingxi was too lazy to tidy himself up. After returning, he went straight to bed. The next day, Lin Qingxi took an enamel cup and 2 aluminum lunch boxes with him and went to a state-owned restaurant to have breakfast. After finishing breakfast, the two of them came back and also made 4 servings of noodles. Lin Yizheng and the 3 of them ate them separately. After breakfast, Lin Qingxi went to the front desk to borrow a stove and an iron kettle for boiling water, and asked Lin Yizheng and Lin Yirong to bring things back to the room. Lin Qingxi first boiled 2 pots of hot water, mixed it with cold water from his own iron pipe and wooden bucket, and asked Lin Yizheng to take Lin Yizheng to wash Xiang Yikong clean. Then he started boiling water again, and later she and Xiang Yijing had to take a shower. Taking advantage of the boiling water, Lin Qingxi instructed Xiang Yijing to watch things in the room and go out to the black market to exchange things. In fact, she went out to find an empty place to stroll around, and then took out 5 pounds of corn flour, 3 pounds of rice, and 1 pound of glutinous rice from the space. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Rest at Transfer Station. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Rest at Transfer Station. Returning to the room with the money, Lin Qingxi took out a small iron pot wrapped in newspaper from the big bag, and then began to make mantou with corn flour and flour. I will have to take the train for several more days, so I can't buy all the meals on the train. I can only make some by myself and bring them to the train to eat. After taking a shower, Lin Yizheng and the others came to Lin Qingxi's room with dirty clothes. Seeing her preparing to eat noodles, they knew they were taking it to the car and were very happy in their hearts. "Auntie, I'll help you." Lin Yizheng ran up happily, gave Lin Qingxi a hand brush pot and prepared to steam mantou. "Wait a minute, Yizheng. You can boil these rice first, and then make some rice and vegetable roll to eat in the car. I'll take some sweet potatoes and taro out, and steam them together when I can steam mantou." Lin Qingxi looked at Lin Yizheng and asked him to do something else, otherwise she wouldn't have quietly put some sweet potatoes and taro into the big bag. "I see, sister. In law, when Lin Yizheng heard that he was going to make pure rice and vegetable roll, he swallowed and quickly did what he could. Quickly, Xiang Yijing returned from taking a shower and saw Lin Qingxi preparing food with Lin Yizheng. She put down her things and prepared to help, but was stopped by Lin Qingxi. She asked Xiang Yijing to wash everyone's clothes first, otherwise she wouldn't be dry when she left tomorrow. After listening to Xiang Yijing's words, he quickly picked up the pile of dirty clothes and called Lin Yirong to go to the bathhouse over there to wash clothes. The two of them washed faster together. Lin Qingxi reconciled the noodles, covered them with a white cloth to wake them up, and then took out 10 large sweet potatoes and 10 taros from the big bundle. Then, he grabbed about 10 red dates and a handful of brown sugar, and closed the big bundle. On the other hand, Lin Yizheng had already cooked the rice, so he helped Lin Qingxi crush the red dates, take out the date pits inside, and put them in an enamel cup. Lin Qingxi finished these things, opened the large suitcase, and in front of Lin Yizheng, took out a white cloth bag from inside, grabbed a few small pieces of rice from the bag, and put them in the enamel cup. When the rice was cooked, Lin Qingxi spread out the rice with a spatula to dissipate heat. After a few minutes, he began to wrap rice and vegetable roll and stuffed a piece of braised pork belly bought by Lin Qingxi from a state-owned hotel in the middle of rice and vegetable roll. When the rice and vegetable roll was ready, the small iron pot was empty, but the noodles were still fresh. Lin Qingxi took the opportunity to cook millet porridge. When the water boiled, she poured the red jujube meat and brown sugar into the pot. "Yizheng, you're looking at the pot here. My sister-in-law is going to the bathhouse to take a shower. Remember to stir and don't cook it too hard." Lin Qingxi instructed Lin Yizheng to look at the pot and immediately go to the bathhouse to take a shower. Because he was worried that Lin Yizheng might cause trouble, he quickly took a battle bath and also washed his hair. As for the dirty clothes, he took them to wash for Xiang Yijing, and she had to hurry back to her room. Fortunately, Lin Yizheng is a reliable person. When Lin Qingxi came over, he steamed with a spatula and kept stirring in an iron pot. Seeing Lin Qingxi coming over, Lin Yizheng breathed a sigh of relief. Lin Qingxi looked at him with a funny expression, but didn't bother to make fun of him. He took the spatula and scooped it up a bit, only to find that it was ready to be cooked a little. Yizheng, please watch carefully. After the cooking, put it in an enamel cup and I'll wipe my hair first. Because in time, Lin Qingxi's hair was still dripping, making her uncomfortable at all. By the time Lin Qingxi wiped his hair half dry, millet and red jujube congee had been put into an enamel cup by Lin Yizheng. He poured half of the water from the pot on the stove, put a drawer in it, and then put a white cloth covered with corn flour. Lin Qingxi began to make mantu. Unlike steamed buns, mantu are directly shaped and put into a pot. When the pot is full, Lin Qingxi covers the pot and then makes the remaining corn flour. When Xiang Yijing and the three of them came back, the first pot of corn flour mantu had been steamed, the second pot had just been steamed, and the third pot was about 5 or 6. The empty place was just right for steaming sweet potatoes and taro. 2.5 pots of 5-gene corn flour were steamed. The first 2 pots had 20 mantu in each pot, but they were not big mantu, but fist-sized mantu. Let's wait for this pot to steam out, then go to a state-owned restaurant to have lunch. These are reserved for the car to eat. Don't think about saving money, you should know that buying food in the car is more expensive and not delicious. State-owned restaurants are much cheaper and more delicious than those in the car. Looking at Lin Yizheng and the 4 of them drooling, Lin Qingxi said angrily. She didn't forget what these people said about her when she was buying food in the car. Almost 20 minutes later, the last pot came out. Lin Qingxi put these mantu on the bed with a white cloth to let them cool naturally. Then he took Lin Yizheng and the 4 people to the state-owned hotel for dinner. Whether it's lunch or not, dinner and breakfast the next day were all taken care of at a state-owned restaurant. As for lunch the next day, it was eaten in the car. At breakfast, Lin Qingxi took 2 aluminum boxes to pack a braised pork belly and spicy rabbit meat, and planned to save them for mantu on the bus. There were not many train passengers heading to Qinghe City, so Lin Qingxi and the others easily got on the train, found their beds, put down their luggage, and everyone sat down to rest. As soon as he got on the bus, Lin Qingxi looked out of the window at the scenery for hours. He didn't take out mantu and aluminum lunch boxes from his luggage until he was hungry. Yijing, you and Yikang should have some millet porridge instead of just mantu, Lin Qingxi said after finishing eating the mantu, then took another piece of rabbit meat. Xiang Yijing didn't listen to Lin Qingxi, so he gave the millet porridge to Xiang Yikang. He ate mantu in large mouthfuls. The millet congee not only supplements the body but also supports people. Of course, it must be given to Lin Qingxi and Xiang Yikang, the youngest. Lin Qingxi shook her head helplessly, and in the end, she could only force everyone to take a few sips. The last bit was left for Xiang Yikang to eat. After lunch, Lin Qingxi put mantu and aluminum lunch boxes into the wooden bucket, sat reading the book, and then lay down with Xiang Yikang in his arms to sleep. Xiang Yijing didn't feel sleepy, so he let Lin Yizheng and Lin Yirong sleep in the middle bunk, sitting by the bed guarding their luggage. In the afternoon, Lin Qingxi had just woken up and had not yet regained her senses when she heard the horn in the carriage ring. The horn played in a loop. May I ask if there is a doctor in the car? If there is, please ask a doctor to come to carriage 19. A passenger here has an unexpected situation, please ask a doctor to come to carriage 19. Upon hearing the sound of the horn, Lin Qingxi instantly regained her energy. As she took out her medical certificate and a small first aid kit from her large suitcase, she said, Yizheng, look at your younger brother and sister. My aunt should go to the 19th carriage to check. Before my aunt comes back, don't run around and wait for her to come back. As soon as Lin Qingxi finished speaking, they ran away carrying their suitcases. They were in carriage 19, and it would take 2 or 3 minutes to get to carriage 19. In order to catch up, Lin Qingxi ran all the way. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. 10, On the Car Rescue. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10:10. On the car rescue. When Lin Qingxi ran to the 19th carriage panting heavily, he saw many people gathered together and didn't know what had happened. "I'm a doctor, please make way," Lin Qingxi shouted as she tried to calm her breath. As the crowd moved away, she saw a pregnant woman with a big belly lying motionless on the ground with a white face. Next to her was a middle-aged woman about 45 years old, with a purple face rolling her eyes on the ground. "Doctor, come here quickly," a middle-aged man shouted, looking up at Lin Qingxi and hesitating. "My daughter-in-law was surprised and was about to give birth prematurely, but she was scared out. My daughter-in-law was eating something and was so scared that it got stuck in her throat that she couldn't swallow or vomit. Could you please disperse? The patient needs fresh air," Lin Qingxi said calmly as she handed her medical certificate to the middle-aged man. "I have had my medical certificate for 2 years now. Although I have not officially become a doctor, I have been pulled over by the director of the military hospital to help. If you believe me, I will take action." Of course, Lin Qingxi still had one thing to say, which was that if she didn't believe it, she would turn around and leave. The patient's family didn't want her to save people, so she wouldn't say she had to force them to save. "I believe it, comrade doctor, please." The middle-aged man took the medical certificate and saw that it was indeed issued by the military hospital. He also saw that Lin Qingxi had an extraordinary demeanor and gritted his teeth before agreeing. Fortunately, the middle-aged man was decisive. Otherwise, his wife and daughter-in-law would have been gone. In the future, the middle-aged man was more than once grateful that he and Lin Qingxi took the same bus back to Qinghe City. "Okay, could you please close up for a moment? I need to deliver her, and then please ask the flight attendant to prepare a large amount of hot water and gauze, and then prepare the baby's clothes." Lin Qingxi took the medical certificate and put it in her first aid kit, then took out alcohol, scissors, tweezers, gauze, disposable gloves, and a matchbox from the kit. After Lin Qingxi finished speaking, the middle-aged man instructed his already stunned little daughter to handle this matter. As soon as the little daughter listened to her father's words, she naturally did whatever he said. Quickly, the son of the middle-aged man returned and consciously found an old set of clothes for the little baby from his luggage. Then, he took a white cloth and surrounded Lin Qingxi and the middle-aged man, blocking their sight. Lin Qingxi didn't care about that. After talking to the middle-aged man, she lifted the middle-aged woman on the ground. As for the pregnant woman, the situation was not dangerous, but the middle-aged woman would really suffocate without rescue. Lin Qingxi pulled up the middle-aged woman, pressed her knees against her waist, and held her front abdomen with both hands. With a forceful thrust of her knees, the woman woke up in pain. Immediately after, Lin Qingxi released one hand and slapped the middle-aged woman's back with all her strength. Then, she pressed several degree massages and finally managed to remove the hard object stuck in her throat. It turned out to be an egg stuck in her throat. "Let someone take care of this ant. I'm going to deliver the baby to the pregnant woman," said Lin Qingxi, holding the middle-aged woman to the bed and continuing. "This ant has hurt her throat. Don't eat spicy food for a week. It's better to eat noodles and congee. Always be careful not to inflame her throat." After Lin Qingxi finished speaking, he left it unattended and began to deal with the postpartum woman on the ground. He gave her a simple examination and found that the amniotic fluid had already broken, but he didn't know how many fingers it had been opened. "Hot water is here, let's go." Just as Lin Qingxi was about to check and open a few fingers, the youngest daughter of a middle-aged man, a 17-year-old girl, came back with a bucket of water and an empty basin. "Pour some hot water into the basin, I need to wash my hands," Lin Qingxi said without looking up. Upon hearing Lin Qingxi's words, the young girl, also known as Zhang Man, quickly poured half of the hot water into the basin. Before Lin Qingxi washed her hands, she pinched the person in front of the mother, woke her up, and then examined her for finger opening problems. While checking, he said, "Just wake up. You've already opened your 7 fingers, and you'll be giving birth in about an hour. Do you want to eat something to restore your strength?" After finishing speaking, he turned to look at Zhang Man and said, "Take something for her to eat first, otherwise she won't be able to have a baby later." "Okay, I'll take it right away." Hearing Lin Qingxi's words, Zhang Man opened her luggage, took out an egg cake and boiled eggs from it, and crushed them little by little to feed her third sister. Law Anru. Watching Anru endure the pain while eating, the Zhang family felt very uncomfortable. Fortunately, Lin Qingxi was there, otherwise something would have happened. What the Zhang family thinks, Lin Qingxi doesn't know, even if she knows, she won't pay attention. Anyway, for her, saving people is her duty as a doctor. About 10 minutes have passed, and after Anru finished eating, she felt a growing pain in her stomach, as if something was coming out from below, with a feeling of wanting to take a larger size. "Doctor, I feel like I want to take the big size," Anru said to Lin Qingxi with a red face, and this feeling became stronger and stronger. "You're not going to take a big size, but you're about to give birth, which means your baby is in a hurry to see you," Lin Qingxi said seriously, then washed her hands, checked her again, and took off her pants to facilitate giving birth later. "You can give birth now, and then listen to me. I can do whatever I ask you to do, so that you can feel less pain. Every time you feel pain, you should exert force," Lin Qingxi said, focusing on the mother's lower part. "Ah." Anru, who felt increasingly painful below, remembered Lin Qingxi's words and exerted all her strength in her waist, but she couldn't give birth. "I'm about to come out, I've already seen my head. Keep pushing hard, you just think you're on the big size, and if you're constipated and can't come out, just don't put too much pressure on yourself," Lin Qingxi said, comforting the mother and occasionally wiping her sweat with gauze. Before the child was born, Lin Qingxi took out scissors and alcohol, disinfected the scissors with alcohol, then dried them with clean gauze, and then put on disposable gloves. "Ah." Listening to Anru's painful cries, the Zhang family father and son, who were blocked by the white cloth, couldn't help but feel uneasy. Shouting like this is not difficult childbirth. Lin Qingxi had just put on disposable gloves when the child slipped out of the birth canal, and Anru was about to collapse. After thinking for a moment, Lin Qingxi took off her gloves and put them back in the first aid kit. She picked up the disinfected scissors and cut off the child's expectations. Without caring about cleaning the child, she wrapped them in extra white cloth next to her to avoid catching a cold. Then she first cleaned Anru's placenta, then pressed her stomach to remove any remaining amniotic fluid, and scrubbed her underneath with clean gauze. Then, he picked up the little doll lying on the ground, put it in a bucket to wash it clean, dry it, and put on the small clothes found by the Zhang family. End of this chapter.